I'm pleating up the petticoat today for the Fauxcaise, if the lurid orange fabric hadn't given it away. It has a shaped top. I've got a cutting mat under here that's got inches on. I know that my petticoats need to be about 16 inches on either panel, so it's a 32-ish inch waist with a bit of leeway. Random contrasting pin to pop in the middle, if I can get the pin through the fabric. I hate this stuff, I really do. Now I've got that on the 8-inch mark at the moment because simplicity, but I'm going to stick a box pleat randomly. I'm just going to grab probably 2 inches away, so it's a 4-inch box pleat at the front. I normally do both sides of the box pleat first because that's easier. That's not going to work there, is it? I need like a wrist strap pin cushion because otherwise I just end up with pins everywhere. Right, so you want to keep the rest of the fabric as flat and straight as possible. So that's, I don't know, is that too small? What do we think? I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along, guys. A 1-inch pleat. Yeah, that works. I'm gonna say that works. I've decided I like it. I'm gonna pop a pin in the other side because I don't really care if the rest of the pleats don't match, but if my box pleat doesn't match, it really irritates me. Okay, that will do. I still don't need it to be perfect, but I do tend to do big box pleat first and then move on to the knife pleats. If you've watched the Burn Me and Trowbridge tutorial lately, you will understand that making a petticoat, especially in the 18th century, is not a mathematical issue, it's a patience issue. Right, now I've got all of this pleat down into all of this. So like, you can't really see that properly, but there's a lot of fabric to pleat down. So this is the part where everyone starts cringing because Hannah starts guessing. Guessing is fun. On the brown petticoat that I just did like random, I think they were 2-inch down to 1-inch knife pleats, which is like the most precise I think I've ever been. So we'll try that and we'll see. If you've read The American Duchess Guide to 18th Century Dressmaking, you know that the important thing when making a petticoat to go over pocket hoops or whatever is that the rest of the fabric remains straight, but your top waistline will end up looking a bit squiffy. I promise you. You will hate it. You can trim it down later, it's fine. If you really need it to be like whoosh, straight, you can pin it down later. When it doesn't like pull, the weight of the fabric is pulling it. I've still got all of this to pleat down, by the way. I think I'm going to have to undo this and do it again. I think I know what I'm doing with this. I like to pretend that I know what I'm doing with this. Who knows? Who knows if Hannah actually knows what she's doing. That pleat just did not work, did it? Right. If, like me, you have chosen a completely inappropriate material, you will cry. Because, ugh, it just will not stay still. So the top waistband for this is probably going to be a hot mess, but you won't see that. I'm rambling, I'm ranting. This is actually probably way too wide. Hang on, where are we at? I've got all of that to get down into 2 inches. I might migrate to the floor because right now Stressing me out. Because the fabric just wants to run away. Okay, we've migrated to the floor. Because I can't pleat on a short little table like that. Just, like, go away. 2-inch pleats did not work because there was not going to be enough of them. I am basically just going to guess at this point. I'm going to randomly pleat. Probably, actually, now I've realised, quite small pleats. And they will probably overlap in the back, and they will be a hot mess. You know, hot messes in the backs of gowns is... in the backs of gowns? No, that's a Little Women reference. On the insides of 18th century gowns is completely, historically accurate, because I'm a nerd. I want to do some research about the quite slapdash nature of 18th century gowns, because if you have the opportunity to look on the inside of pretty much any of them, they are what modern dressmakers would call a hot mess. Crying at how crap my pleats are. I hear you, professionals who think that maths is important in dressmaking. I hear you. I choose to ignore you. Because maths is the nemesis of all. Except people who really like maths, but those people are weird. This stuff is horrible and synthetic, and I don't like it, and why did I do this to myself? Why? Does anyone know why I did this to myself? Mean. Won't do anything I ask it too nicely. And I really don't want to press this. Like, we are in fabric territory that, quite frankly, terrifies me, and that pleat won't stay nice because this, like... Just gonna put a pin in there, it'll all be fine. Right? It will all be fine. Ooh, I think we might manage it. With my slapdash, this is how 18th century petticoats should go together, right? Totally. Absolutely, this is how it's supposed to be done. This is how mantua makers would have done it. It's not, because, quite frankly, this petticoat fabric... It's not how mantua makers would have done it, because this fabric is horrible. Horrible, nasty, icky, synthetic crap. Edge, hang on. Let me grab a bit that's not gonna ping apart. The selvage edge is really ugly, so I'm okay with that hanging over. So they will technically be a little bit wider than 16 inches. It's like wrestling a toddler that can't decide if it wants to be stiff or floppy. I need to do the other side. Petticoat panels with the stripes going down, so the petticoat will be getting covered in some kind of white, flouncy, frilly stuff. Shut up, Hannah, get on with pleating. Don't actually want to machine sew this. I just poked myself in the eye. Today is going well. It's so slippy and so bouncy, and it's just going to be a freaking nightmare to get to behave on a sewing machine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Gonna have way more pleats on this side. I'm not, because I'm gonna do big pleats. The inside's gonna be beautiful. World, in this beautiful, beautiful world, with 18th century dressmakers everywhere going, I don't really care what the inside looks like, as long as the outside vaguely matches. We have a little bit more than 16 inches. Also, they can overlap. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, there's one half of the Fauxcaise petticoat. I'm going to time lapse the second half because you don't need to listen to me waffle anymore. This close to rage quitting, like, you have no idea how much I am detesting working with this fabric right now. This close. This close to crumpling it up into a spiky pinny ball and throwing it across the room. Because it's so difficult to work with. Ah! Just checked how we're doing measurements wise, and it's going to be way too long. Which means I have to undo all of the pins that I have in and take all the pleats out. I have to do it again. I'm going to take a little breather. I'm going to walk away for 10 minutes. I'm going to go and eat my body weight in shortbread because I'm pregnant and I can. And then I'm going to come back and try again. Okay, I've eaten shortbread. I feel better. Both panels are pleated. They're not quite even. The number of pleats doesn't match. I don't care. I'm not doing it again. I refuse. I point blank refuse to do this again. So, next step is waistband. Now, the lovely Fiona in the history banding group answered my call for I've run out of trim and what website do I use, and she went, it's fine, I've got loads, I'll just post you some. So she posted me this like ram full freezer bag full of trim, and it's so cool, and I'll get them all out to show you, but this was in there and it's rainbow ribbon. It's so cool and so cute, and I was thinking, what do I put this on, because I'm probably not going to put it on anything historical. And then my brain went, but you could put it on the Fauxcaise. So I'm going to use this to make the waistband ties. I can't remember how long they need to be. I'm just going to go and measure it against the other petticoat that I've got and see how long these need to be. Cut 2 of them. Okay, so piece of ribbon now cut to length. Don't ask me what length it is. It's an arbitrary length that happens to work as a petticoat tie. I should probably measure it and write it down somewhere. Probably not gonna. I've just realised that the top of my head is off the screen. Never mind. So you have to find the middle-ish the middle. I do this by folding it in half. It's high tech, it's amazing. And then, this is why I leave the pin in the middle of the petticoat. You grab that pin in the middle of the petticoat and you pin the ribbon on roughly in the middle. You can baste these pleats before you do this. I would probably recommend doing that. Yeah, I would probably recommend doing that. And then you're just gonna try and lay it as close to this edge as you can. I'm quite frankly at the point of throwing this across the room, so it's just going to get roughly pinned on and then stitched down. See how that's pinned on? It's pinned on to the right side right now. This is the back panel. You can tell by the inverted box pleat. So these are pinned onto the right side, and then once that's pinned on, it will get folded over and whipped down on the inside, sewn down somehow on the inside. So all these raw edges, in theory, get tucked in. I will probably have to trim. So I've just pinned it kind of loosely together and thrown it on Doris, and wow, I don't even have words for how much I think this is hideous right now. Yeah, it's special. Check this horrific petticoat. Ignore the hem. Ignore the hem. You can see the boning channels on the pocket hoops, which probably means I'm going to have to make a new pair of pocket hoops, or just suck it up and accept that, you know, this dress is basically going to be see-through. It's not stitched together yet, it's just pinned. I don't even have words. There are no words for how much I dislike this outfit already. It's special. Let's go with special. And let's go with, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself? But yeah, I'm gonna sew it together and then do another update. And then once we've got the petticoat sorted, we can move on to the rest of the gown. This should be fun. I'm back. I had a panic moment where I thought, damn, I literally have no thread that will go with this. I'm just going to have to go full on 18th century and accept that you are going to see bits of white thread everywhere. And then I went diving through my bag of stuff and found this. It's not quite the right colour, but it's not white either. So I will take that as a win. It's about as natural a fibre as the rest of the dress, so I will just accept that. And then hopefully can have this finished sewn together possibly this evening. Probably won't be hemmed, but it will at least be sewn together structurally. Okay, so the petticoat is almost finished. It's not hemmed because I don't know what I'm doing with the bottom yet. I might add a ruffle along the bottom, so I don't want to like spend ages hemming it and then attach a ruffle on the bottom. That means that I could have done both at the same time. Does that make sense? So anyway, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So I actually hate it slightly less now it's finished-ish. Ignore all the mess in the background. It is freaking like poofy. I was going to say awesome, but I don't think I'd go as far as to say awesome. It's very poofy. You can. Those lines there are the petticoat hoop boning, the pocket hoop boning channels. So you can see those through this single layer, but I'm not going to make a new pair until I've made the rest of the dress and decided if I want that or not. Yeah, check out the rainbow ribbon. I'm loving it. These are my petticoat ties for this horrific thing, which you saw earlier in the video. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the shape of it and the floof. But that's about it, really. Yeah, I am really enjoying the shape of it. I'm not entirely convinced by the colour or the pattern or the fact that my hem is incredibly wonky. But I have a theory that most of this will be covered anyway. We'll see. So yes, I have no idea when the next part will be out, guys, because I'm 36 and a half weeks pregnant when I'm filming this, and my first was born at 37 weeks, so I'm not holding my breath that this one stays in for much longer. So things might slow down significantly over the next few months while I get used to having a newborn again. Having said that, things might progress really quickly because she just sleeps all the time, so we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to try and get the lining done for this week. Hopefully. At least get everything cut out so I can have it in a bag and just pick it up and work on it as and when I feel like it, basically. So yes, that is the petticoat for the Fauxcaise. And I know what's... English! I can do English. I know most of you are really excited for this, so I will hopefully get it done as soon as possible. Yay!